Welcome, Megan. I'm so happy to have you here to talk about how we can get our children moving and what that looks like. And so, before we get into that meaty topic, I want to hear a little bit more about how you got into early education. What was your entrance to this? I know you have a rich story around that. So, tell us about it.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I always love this question because I joke that I was born into the early childhood education industry because my mom started Stretch and Grow when she was pregnant with me 31 years ago. I have six older sisters, and we have had health issues in our family. And basically, when she got pregnant with me, she wanted to figure out how to get me excited about healthy habits at a really young age. And that started her on this journey of looking into physical education for preschoolers. And at that time, there really wasn't anything structured at all. And so she had this idea for themed adventure classes held at preschools and daycares. And basically, my dad took the idea and ran with it. And over the last 30 years, or 31 years now, we've added on different programs like sports and gymnastics and music. And so we're really on a mission to get kids moving at schools. And I've had the opportunity to grow up with the business with Stretch and Grow and see the impact on the childhood education industry that we've had, but also really get to see the impact that we've had on our children. I I just love that we get to connect with them in such a fun way and teach them such important life skills. But then also at the same time, we are a resource for directors, for teachers, and for anybody in our industry.
I love it. I love it. And so, no doubt you were, let's see, where were you in the number of children in terms of birth order?
I am number 7.
Okay. So
Yeah.
no doubt that you went through a lot of these things where mom was saying, "Come on, we're going to get out, we're going to move, we're going to, be active," which is
Yeah.
amazing. And so I really want to understand a little bit more when we talk about getting children moving. What does that mean? What does that look like?
Sure. I think there's, as parents and people, we always think about children running on the playground and playing tag and all of those awesome things that they do. But we don't ever really think about structured physical education. And that is important too. While free play is so important, so is structured physical education. And so when I'm talking about that and getting children moving, I am talking about that structured portion of it, which actually NASB, which is the National Association of Sports and Physical Education, they recommend that preschoolers have at least 30 minutes of structured physical education every day. So that's different than just running on the playground or kicking balls around with their friends. There is, their hearts are getting elevated. They're maybe lifting something a little bit heavy, if you've ever heard of heavy work, that kind of thing. And so when we're talking about this in an actual preschool setting, there's a few different ways that we can do that. There's different videos that they can tune into on their smart board, maybe, or there's different games that can be played. And then, of course, there's enrichment programs, and enrichment specialists can come out and do different activities that get the children's heart rates moving and also let them have a lot of fun.
Exactly. And so when we talk about, the activity and the movement, what are the benefits of that in the learning environment?
Well, there's so many, of course. I mean, well, we know that obesity is an issue, right? It actually affects over 14 million children. So it's a huge issue. But not only that, we're seeing so many children struggling now with actually anxiety, depression, things like that at such a young age. But then also, we're seeing teachers struggle with behavior issues and children not wanting to nap. And so, exercise can help all of those things. Exercise is great for our physical health and our mental health, and we all need that.
Agreed. So I'm thinking about one of our earlier conversations also. Uh, it doesn't necessarily have to be stretch and grow, but with the mindset around every movement has a connection back to curriculum. Because I think
Right.
sometimes when we look at enrichment programs, we think it's a nice to have as opposed to a way to reinforce curriculum. Can you talk about that?
Yes, I would love that. So, any high quality program, any high quality enrichment program that a school decides to partner with should be curriculum based. We're not just going out throwing balls around. There should be a warm up. There should be a cardio portion, a strength portion, a cool down to any program. There should be a goal in mind, right? So for stretch and grow, I can speak to us. We have all of those things, but we also teach them about bones and muscles and healthy eating habits. So at the end of our programs, our 4-year-olds can name all of their major muscle groups, and
Wow.
their parents can't usually even do that. So we're really proud of that. And so it's important when a school is looking for an enrichment program that they ask them about their curriculum. Make sure that it isn't going to just be 30 or 45 minutes of free play, but that their instructors are certified and that they have a plan when going in for a goal that the class is going to achieve as a whole.
So I also know in talking with you prior to this, not only muscle groups, but how does this help even with colors and nutrition? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure, we love activities that can help reinforce the things that they're already learning in the classroom. And we will pair activities where we're talking about colors with maybe fruits and vegetables. So we'll hold up a red ball and say, what kind of fruit or vegetable could this be? And when children start out in our program, they might say, pizza or whatever it is. But then by the end of a few classes, they start saying apples, tomatoes. They know they start registering that we're looking to talk about those healthy habits. And also, that's really important because our teachers have so much on their plates already. They need that backup. They need another person coming in and helping them reinforce those things they're teaching, but also they need a break. And so that's another huge benefit that enrichment programs can provide to schools is that is not 30 minutes, or that's 30 minutes where the teacher is not having to be up in front of the classroom. They're able to take a break, able to lesson plan, clean tables, whatever it is. And so I know I kind of went off there on that question, but we do make sure, we're doing counting, all of those things that really help our teachers and support them in what they're teaching.
I'm so glad that you did go down that path because as I think about this with the day in the life of a teacher or administrator or director, there's so much that they have to do. So, what does an enrichment program allow them to do? Let's pause a little bit further on that. So,
Sure.
not just you, but enrichment programs, you have to have certain certifications and qualifications. But what does that do to the overall environment for the teachers and leaders and so forth?
Well, I think that we come in and we become kind of part of the community and culture. And that's another thing that schools need to consider when they're talking about bringing an enrichment program. What kind of program will fit with our center and our community? And so, yes, the instructors definitely need their background checks. They need everything to be caregiver qualified and be in that classroom with the kids so that that teacher can take a break and sit back. And it's really cool because when we get to the school, everyone, teachers included, gets so excited to see us because they know their kids are about to let some of that energy that they have out. And so that's really exciting for them. And also on the director side of it, it gives them an opportunity to be more competitive than the school down the street. That school might not be offering dance or sports, and parents are looking for those types of things for their children, but oftentimes they're working all day and don't have time to take them to after school activities. So to have it at their school is such a big benefit and so attractive to parents. So it helps with teacher retention, but also attracting new families and keeping them.
So I can't help as a parent. I'm thinking, how much is this going to cost me? But in general, when we think about enrichment programs, when you break it down, what's the relative cost?
So there's two different ways that enrichment programs are offered. The first way is the most common, and that is where the program comes out and only the children that sign up participate in that program. So, for example, a soccer class might be in the afternoon, and that it's going to vary depending on the enrichment program in the area that you're in, but you're going to pay a monthly fee for that. Usually a lot less than it would be if you were going to like a studio for dance or gymnastics. So that's also a big benefit to parents is sometimes it's lower cost than if they were to be going to a studio. And so it's going to really range on, depending on the area, but you're looking at, $45 to $65 a month versus a studio that's a lot more than that, right? Now for center wide, which is the second way that the classes are offered, that's where the school partners with the enrichment program. And that's where all the children in the school get to participate. And it's actually an opportunity for the school to fundraise if they want to. So let's say an enrichment program charges per class. Typically it's around $3 to $4 per child when you break it down. The school can then ask their parents to fundraise for that and actually end up adding a little bit of money to their bottom line. So it can end up helping the school with their budget too.
So this is a little bit off what we were planning to talk about, but I also think about this in terms of, so there's a cost, but there's also the benefit of having children who have been isolated and maybe not knowing some of those social, emotional learning experiences. I'm sure you bump into that. Do you have any thoughts?
Oh, yes. Well, especially recently, we've seen children who have not been out of their homes, but also they don't have the imaginations that they used to.
Wow.
They're on screens all the time, and they don't have opportunities to move like they should usually. They get home and it's, dinner time and all of the things that goes with that. So it's so important for them because active play and structured play, that's an opportunity for them to explore who they are and figure out what they like and understand their bodies and build confidence. So yes, we've definitely seen recently a difference in our children.
Can you give me an example of one of your most rewarding imagination moments?
Oh goodness, I have so many. But I think my favorite is always when I bring up healthy habits and then they come to me and they tell me how they shared with their child or with their brother or sister, and now their brother or sister is calling the red ball the tomato or the apple or something like that. That always means so much to me. And then, of course, when they talk about their muscles at home, we hear stories of where they tell their parents, oh, my abdominals hurt instead of my tummy. So I think definitely those are huge impacts. And then with the imagination, they're just so full of things that once you get them going and you get them excited, and we might be at the beach that day, they will jump in and say, Coach Megan, I see a starfish over there, or I see a shark over there. And so there's just so many. They're amazing. It's amazing to work with them and get to see how their little minds work.
That's awesome. And then I imagine you probably have some similar stories for the parents where
Yeah.
parents are, wow, I didn't even know that. Tell us if there's one or more that you can think of that where there was really an aha moment for a parent.
Yeah, so we send home handouts and newsletters. And so those handouts and newsletters tell the parents what we're doing that week. And what one parent in particular, so every class we start out with our stretch and grow stretch. And all the children know it, and it talks about eating wise and how we're going to stretch and grow that day. And the 2-year-olds, sometimes they are a little bit hard to understand what it is. So we had a child who was in our 2-year-old class, and they had graduated to our 3-year-old class, and I got to talk to their parent, and they said last year they would do this, my child would do this song all the time, and we did not know what they were saying. And then once they graduated into that 3-year-old class and they were able to articulate it a little bit better, they realized it was the stretch and grow stretch. So that 2-year-old was at home doing our stretch and grow stretch all the way up through the time that they left preschool. So we hear that they do it, in the shower and making dinner or randomly in the grocery store. So it's great to know that they're bringing it home.
Okay, so you just opened the door and I'm putting you totally on the spot because we didn't talk about this. So what is this stretch and grow stretch song? Come on, we got to know it.
Okay, well, do you want to do it with me?
I'll do it with you.
Okay, we have to stand up.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to go out of camera if I stand up.
Okay. Well, all right. So it has movements with it, and we put our hands on our hips and we say, we stretch, and then we bring our hands up and we squat down. We say, we grow. It's good for us. We know. And then we do turns like this. We exercise and eat what's wise. And then we all jump. We stretch, stretch, and grow. And they all scream. So it's really cute. It's really fun.
And you can imagine them doing that when they wake up in the morning, which can turn grumpy attitudes into really happy attitudes for the start of the day.
Definitely, definitely. And they're just so proud of it, and we are too. We love it.
I bet. Well, again, back to the point about obesity and screens. If you just want to say a few words about that, because I think it's going to parallel to the next question, which is, what do you see some of the challenges that we face in early education as an industry going forward? So let's talk about that as a particular question.
Okay. So, obviously screens are a tool, but what we're seeing is that a lot of children are spending too much time on them, unfortunately, when they get home, and that's decreasing their attention span, decreasing their imagination. I also think it could be contributing to some of the behavior issues that we're seeing as a whole in the industry. And then when we talk about children who are obese or maybe aren't healthy, that makes that harder for that child to learn. Sick kids have a harder time learning. And so if we are all moving and we're all exercising, we're going to have an easier time in the classroom.
It makes sense. I mean, that totally makes sense. And that is a challenge. I think we all face that of just the sedentary, what we went through of being in our own homes. But what I love about what you're saying is imagination. I think even we as adults have forgotten how to be playful, not so much teachers, but I mean, as adults, we grow into this, like, should I be playful? Is that silly? And so once in a while we have dance parties in our house where it's, let's put a song on and we're going to have a dance party. And it just creates a little bit more of that imagination. And imagination is such a valuable tool to learning.
It is, definitely. And I love that you bring that up because that's an easy way for teachers to get their kids moving in class, is just a simple little dance party. And often that will help that teacher's mood as well if they get moving too. So I love that. I love you do that at home.
Well, and with kids, not everybody thinks they're a dancer, but if you can move, you're a dancer. Period. The
Yes.
end. Just like you just showed us, though we did it in a chair.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to share about the importance of enrichment programs and how schools might go about selecting them? What's any other parting thoughts on this particular point?
Yeah, I think it's really important for schools to look at enrichment programs as a resource that they can use us to help with their staff breaks, use us to help connect with their parents better, and also, most importantly, use us to help them get their kids moving and fulfill that need. And when they're looking to select an enrichment program, don't be afraid to ask for a demo. Ask
Oh,
for a free class. Ask for some sort of demonstration so you can get an idea of what that class is going to be like for your kids, and make sure their core values align with your school's core values. Any high quality enrichment program is going to have core values. They're going to have their certifications. And again, they're going to have that curriculum base. So those are really just my three key points that I'd like to stress to directors and owners is when they're looking for an enrichment program.
outstanding. I love that. And as we wrap up this, I'm ready to go exercise, by the way, as we wrap
That's
this
good.
up. But do you have a favorite quote or a motto or something that you live by that you want to share with our audience?
Uh, well, I guess my dad always said, if you can't get out of it, get into it. And I don't think he made that up, but I, that's what we live by. So that's kind of our quote. So, we're in school, we can't get out of our bodies, so let's get into them, let's take care of them.
Oh, wow. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You can't say that again one more time. If you can't,
If you can't get out of it, get into it.
it's a wonderful mindset to have. So we just encourage schools to consider enrichment programs. Yours is an amazing one. We know it well and believe that there is so many benefits to learning, health, family engagement. Think about it. If we have a commitment at school that transfers over to home, families are more apt to continue those healthy habits. Realigning it with curriculum, realigning it with just overall understanding how our bodies work. And I think our children are going to benefit from that, especially as they grow and mature and help their peers. That's another big piece of it is, hey, guess what I learned? Even if like neighborhood kids don't all go to the same school.
Yeah.
So just a parting comment on that, where you've ever heard of kids that are saying, guess what I learned? Or they're sharing their stories.
Well, oh, for sure. And then they pretend to be coaches. So they'll play stretch and grow when they get home, and they'll get their siblings involved or their friends. And so we've seen lots of videos or stories like that where they pretend to be their coaches. And that's awesome.
That's hilarious. Well, we'll close on this. Megan, how old are your children now?
I have a 3-year-old and an 8-month-old.
So chances are you're singing these songs
Yeah.
yourself and they're all learning it. So you have some future coaches and instructors that are in your midst, and a long family history and legacy, which I just applaud what you're doing and hope that more schools will look at the value of enrichment programs overall to, for all the reasons we just said, to help healthy minds and bodies.
Yes. Thank you so much. And I just appreciate you having me on. I had a great time chatting with you.
It'll be one of many conversations, I'm sure. Thanks, Megan.
Thank you.